Alright, so the Tommy Fury and KSI fight is less than a week away, and now that both fighters are done their camps, I thought this would be the perfect time to break down each of their fighting styles to make a calculated decision on who's gonna win. Now before we look at some actual boxing footage from Mr. Elbowman and Timmy Fury, on paper, Timmy has all the advantages. He's younger, has a 1-inch height advantage, has a longer reach, has more fights, has been boxing for 12 years compared to KSI's 5. They're supposed to got it wrong. But the main difference is their weight. Because there's no rehydration clause, meaning between the official weigh-in and fight day, there's no limit on how much weight you can add or lose. That means on fight day, Tommy Fury is gonna be coming in weighing the same as a fucking hippo. Like, this man's gonna be massive. The weight itself is set at 183 pounds, and because KSI fought FaZe Temper at 175 and Joe Fournier at 180, this is actually a bit high for him, whereas for Tommy, he's used to fighting people at 185 and even higher like he did with Jake. So Tommy's probably going to be stepping into the ring weighing around 190 to 200 pounds. So if I'm KSI, I'm not trying to lose weight, right? I'm going to try to keep myself at 183 to make sure the weight difference isn't too crazy. Because let's say KSI comes in at like 175, right? He's like, huh? Bitch. That ain't doing shit to Tommy Fury. This motherfucker weighs like 30 pounds more than him, so you want to keep the weight difference as close as you can. And also, one more thing I want to point out is that people online are favoring Tommy like he's 100-0 in the ring. Now obviously Tommy is going to be the favorite because of all the advantages listed, but something people are forgetting is that Tommy's only 24 years old, meaning he's still developing and becoming a better boxer every day just like KSI is. So although on paper he is the favorite, the fight may be a bit closer than you think. So, let's dive straight into the breakdown. So when we look at the Jake Paul vs Tommy Fury fight, you see that Tommy really likes to stay on the outside and uses reach, which is smart. I mean, this man's arms go down to his knees, but whenever Jake tries to come inside and throw a punch, Tommy is keeping his distance and circling around him, and this is why for 60 to 70% of the fight, Jake was controlling the center while Tommy was on the outside. And this is why we've seen KSI continuously saying to Tommy that he's not gonna box him, he's gonna fight him, while also saying, I'm gonna be in the middle of the ring, you can't miss me.
I'm going to fight you. I'm not gonna box you, I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna stand there in the middle of the ring. Middle of the ring, and I'm gonna swing.
I'll be in the middle.
You ain't standing in nobody's way.
I'll be in the middle, standing my ground,
meet you head on.
getting ready to punch you.
Head on.
Head on.
Head on.
I ain't running. You'll be the one running when you feel my power.
KSI knows that Tommy's 18-meter arms is gonna be a problem in the fight, which is why he says he wants to make it a scrap to eliminate that advantage. Now, if we take a look at KSI's style of fighting from his previous 2 fights, he likes to stay bouncy on his feet and always move around, which allows him to not only be more explosive, but he can also close the distance way quicker than a regular orthodox style boxer, and we can see this in the first major punch KSI lands. So right here, neither Joe Fournier or KSI can land a punch because of the distance between them, but now look at how fast KSI closes this distance to land a nice overhand right. Boom. Nicely done. But because KSI's style is so unique and Tommy likes to keep his distance while fighting, the explosiveness by KSI might be able to catch Tommy off guard and end up working really effectively for him, just like it did in the Joe fight. But then again, we have to remember that Joe Fournier is almost the same age as Joe Biden, and Tommy Fury is a young fighter, so he will have faster reflexes to combat KSI bouncing in. Now, although this bouncy style may be able to catch Tommy off guard, it may also be KSI's kryptonite because of Tommy's long, hard, juicy, stiff jab. We can see in this fight, whenever Jake tried to move forward and get in range, Tommy always responds with a stiff jab, and what KSI has to remember is that he can't trade jabs with Tommy because Tommy has a longer reach, meaning he can land jabs from a distance KSI can't, and you can see that in the Jake fight. But what makes this even more dangerous for KSI when compared to Jake is once again his style, and the reason behind this is, well, I don't know the name, I didn't take physics, maybe like photosynthesis or something? Basically, when you look at the jabs landed on Jake Paul, there wasn't that much forward momentum by Jake in those circumstances. Now if you look at KSI style, you see him here back up and boom, explode to land a punch while also reading Joe's punch and ducking out the way. Now if that was Tommy Fury and not Grandpa Joe, one stiff jab to the face and that's doing damage because KSI is running towards that jab instead of just standing there and Tommy landing a jab. And also, one more thing I want to point out from the Joe Fournier fight was KSI doing angle changes. So just watch what he does here. Now you would normally try to find angles after you throw some punches. So for example, you throw a couple jabs, shift to the left or right and throw a left or right hand. But KSI, he doesn't do that, and also his body is staying in the center, meaning he's basically just coming straight forward at Joe. Now again, if that was Tommy in Joe Fournier's position, he could have just destroyed KSI's body because it was in the center line. But since it was Sleepy Joe, KSI probably knew he wasn't gonna do anything and was just doing those angle changes to show something to the crowd. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is the combinations of Tommy Fury. What the fuck was that? Ignore that. So you can see in the Jake Paul fight, whenever Jake seems to be a bit slow, Tommy takes advantage by throwing a jab and following up with some nice combinations. And even when Jake Paul was ducking his head way down to make sure he doesn't get caught, Tommy still somehow manages to catch him at the last second. Now the way KSI can stop Tommy Fury from getting in the flow of his combinations is by going in and out fast, which is something he could definitely do with his style. For example, just pretend I'm KSI, right? So you're like, you go in, elbow, elbow, knee, elbow. That's all he has to do and he'll just knock him out. So who do I think is gonna win the fight? Well, I think it comes down to one thing, and that's if KSI can land some big punches early. We all know that KSI has power, but Tommy is a big guy, and the bigger someone is, the more power they can absorb. So if KSI can land some bombs early, it may make Tommy think twice about coming on the inside to land some combinations, which will eliminate a big part of his game. Because if the fight does go the distance, as the rounds go by, both fighters are gonna start to get a bit tired, and what happens then? The guy that knows the fundamentals of boxing better will always win because they have that ingrained in their brain, whereas KSI starts swinging for the ropes like he's doing swimming lessons. So I honestly think KSI's best bet to win the fight is to land something big early that either knocks Tommy Fury out or at least earns his respect to change the dynamic of the fight, because I think we all know as the rounds go on, Tommy Fury is gonna start winning and the fight will favor him more. But let me know who you think is gonna win the fight down in the comments below, and make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to never miss future videos.